Here is 5 insanely fun and effective Warlock builds that I've crafted over the past few months and compiled into one video. In the description will be a link to each individual video and also the dim link to the build right next to it. But first of all, let's cover each build quick and short in one video and then send you on your way to pick your favorite build. Now the first Warlock build is probably the most fun Warlock build that I've ever put together and used in any content in the game. Now this is an Arc Warlock build using the Prismatic subclass, and I like to call it the Carpet Bomb Nuke build. Now this Warlock build takes advantage of the Crown of Tempest exotic headpiece, and the way this exotic works with a Prismatic subclass is as long as your subclass has at least one Arc ability equipped, the Crown of Tempest will actually work for every ability on your subclass, whether it's Arc, Strand, Void, or Solar. This build also takes advantage of the Lightning Surge aspect paired with Arcane Needles. So pretty much you're going to have 3 Lightning Surge charge abilities, and every single time you use one, the more kills you get with it will quickly recharge all of your abilities. This build is extremely fun, as you can see from the footage, and let's go ahead and jump straight to the video and give you a quick rundown. But anyway, to basically summarize this build in a quick couple words, this one is a Carpet Bomb build by using the aspect Lightning Surge. This is the Arc Fragment that allows you to slide and then use your charge melee to blink forward, jolt targets, and basically do massive nuke damage. We're going to combine this with Arcane Needle, meaning we're going to have 3 charges of this sort of sliding Carpet Bomb. Now with the use of some fragments, exotic pieces of armor, and other aspects, we're going to be getting our melees back before we run out of melees. So if you play this build right and don't completely waste all of your lightning surges, you should be able to keep this ability up 24/7 and chain them back to back. The exotic that I've gone for in this build is the Crown of Tempests. Now the armor perk on this one is Conduction Tines. Arc ability or Jolt Final Blows increase the recharge rate of your Arc abilities. Now luckily enough for us, the way this works on Prismatic is as long as we have one Arc ability equipped on our subclass, it's going to increase the recharge rate of every ability on our subclass. So yes, the Crown of Tempest will buff the Arcane Needle's recharge rate. Now just quickly to break this ability recharge rate down, getting 1 kill will give you 175% recharge rate, getting 2 kills is 350% recharge rate, and 3 kills or more will give you 525% recharge rate. So every time we use a Lightning Surge Carpet Bomb, we want to aim to at least get 3 kills with it. And with the amount of damage it does, this is extremely easy. Just look for a pack of ads and go right in the middle of all of them. They should pretty much all die. Doing this is going to give our Arcane Needles a 525% recharge rate. Another major bonus to the Crown of Tempest that I completely even disregarded is the fact that it counts for Jolt Final Blows. Now, if you didn't realize, having a gun with Volt Shot will actually apply the Jolt debuff to enemies when you do the Volt Shot animation. Upon killing this enemy with that Jolt debuff will count for the Crown of Tempests. So taking advantage of any gun with Volt Shot, whether that be the Iclos SMG or the Indebted Kindness, this will definitely help your build out. Just make sure you're using a gun with Volt Shot when using this build. Now the second build is a Strand Warlock build with infinite suspension and poison spreading everywhere all over the map. This build is super effective in that lower to mid-range content where there is just plenty of ad density in the game and your poison can pretty much spread everywhere through all of your Strand abilities, and also the use of the Necrotic Grips and the Thorn exotic hand cannon. Like pretty much every Warlock Strand build, this one takes advantage of the Mind Spun Invocation aspect, which allows you to consume your Shackle Grenade and activate Weaver's Trance. Now what Weaver's Trance does is basically Final Blows with Weaver's Trance active will create suspending effects everywhere. This effect counts through poison kills, which the Thorn spreads everywhere, and obviously the Thorn and the Necrotic Grips work very well together in spreading poison everywhere. Pairing this with Arcane Needles, you have 3 charges to spread your poison all over the map, and it is overall extremely effective and very fun. But let's cover some of the best aspects of this build, and if you like any of it, make sure you stick around to the end to know exactly how to make it. So probably the best pro of this build is you are going to have infinite uptime on basically suspending enemies. Whether that comes from Weaver's Call or having the ability to throw a Shackle Grenade, you can suspend any enemies whenever you want. On top of that, you're going to have 24/7 uptime on Woven Mail, giving you massive damage reduction. You're going to be having poison spreading everywhere through the use of the Thorn and the Necrotic Grips, which I'm going to get into very soon, which is going to give you uptime on your grenade, basically 24/7. And you're going to be getting your super quite fast, which is going to allow you to nuke down any enemies that need some super damage. So this Strand build revolves around 2 exotics that are obviously the most important. The first one being the Necrotic Grips. Now the Necrotic Grips have to be one of the most iconic Warlock exotic pieces of armor in the entire game. Now everyone knows how the Necrotic Grips work, but if you don't, let me quickly remind you. Basically, damaging enemies with any melee ability in the game will add a poison damage over time effect to them. When this enemy dies with this damage over time effect, they then explode and spread this poison to any enemies near them. The Necrotic Grips work especially well on the Warlock Strand subclass because it allows us to have 3 Arcane Needles, allowing us to spread our poison 3 times, and obviously more when we get our melees back. Another bonus to the arcane needles is they actually do some serious amount of damage, so pretty much most red bar enemies in the game will die to 1 arcane needle if you're not doing anything like a Grandmaster Nightfall. Now another secret little bonus that the necrotic grips don't display, but everyone knows works, is that the necrotics work with weapons of sorrow. So things like the thorn and the osteostriga, the poison over time from these weapons coincides very well with the necrotic grips. So yes, the second exotic that you're going to need is the thorn. Now the osteostriga will work, but in my opinion the thorn just works better overall, as the osteostriga recently got quite a bad nerf. Now the way to maximize the thorn's capability and use it to the best of its advantage is anytime you kill an enemy with the thorn, make sure you run up and get the soul devourer that drops from the enemy that you just killed. It's like a little green particle on the ground and it will float towards you. Picking this little green orb up that the thorn drops is very important. It's going to give the thorn quite a few buffs. The first thing is it's going to buff the damage over time effect that the thorn does, while also partially refilling the magazine. Now the third Warlock build is a pure solar build that takes advantage of the Starfire Protocol Warlock exotic chess piece. This is a little bit of a flashback to when the Starfire Protocol ran the Destiny 2 meta and you were able to throw fusion grenades absolutely everywhere. This build is very similar to that one and it tries to achieve that previous meta. However, it isn't a DPS build but more of an ad clearing build where you use your solar abilities and solar weapons to build up fusion grenades and spread them all over the map to create infinite ignitions. The Starfire Protocol is going to give us an extra grenade, and pairing this with Touch of Flame, this allows each fusion grenade to explode twice, pretty much meaning we have 4 grenades, as each grenade will explode twice. On top of this, we are also going to be taking advantage of Hellion, just for some extra damage, and also causing more scorch stacks on the enemies all around us, and just inevitably causing more ignitions. This whole build revolves around one of my favorite guns in the game as well, the Aberrant Action with Heal Clip and Incandescent, just overall making this build extremely fun and very solid to use. So let's jump into the video. As we all know, Warlocks with the aspect Touch of Flame turns our fusion grenade into one of the highest dealing grenades in the entire game. It's going to cause the fusion grenade to explode twice, granting enough scorch stacks to ignite, and this season with the artifact mods such as Solar Fulmination, our ignitions are going to do an incredible amount of damage, so now is the perfect time to try out this build. As you can see from the footage on screen right now, I am pretty much chaining solar grenades back to back, combining this with healing grips and the Hellion aspect. There is just scorch stacks and ignitions going absolutely crazy. Paired with the best gun in the game right now, Aberrant Action, with Heal Clip and Incandescent on this as well, everything is just dying in a second. I'm full health, nothing is even getting close to me, and even Yellow Bar and mini bosses are getting absolutely destroyed. Moving on to build number 4, this is a Warlock Prismatic build that takes advantage of the Mantle of Battle Harmony exotic chess piece. Now you may be thinking, why the hell would I use this exotic chess piece? But basically the way this build works is it allows you to keep up your Summer Flame pretty much as long as there are ads around. So this build is pretty much a support orientated Warlock build, which is extremely fun. To put it simply, this is my infinite Song of Flame build, and I literally mean pretty much infinite. Now you're probably wondering, why do you want to be in your Song of Flame forever? Well, let me break it down for you. 1, you get a massive damage resistance to you and your allies. 2, you are also infinitely radiant while you are in your Song of Flame to you and your allies. And on top of that, all of your solar weapons will apply Scorch to enemies, meaning more ignitions, meaning more damage. On average, using this build, my Song of Flame is lasting at least 1 minute, scaling all the way up to 2 minutes. In this first clip, you're seeing this Song of Flame lasts for around 1 minute and 15 seconds, and that is only because the ads run out. Now there is one condition that allows you to stay in your Song of Flame, and that requires a constant wave of ads. As long as you can keep killing enemies, you can keep your Song of Flame up and active and running. Now not only is this build amazing when you have your super, but it is also super effective when you don't have your super. And the way I've designed this build is that you can get your super back after it's run out in a mere 20 to 30 seconds, as long as you play your cards right and use the right mods and fragments. Now the exotic that we're going to be using in this build is the Mantle of Battle Harmony exotic chess piece. Now this exotic chess piece does 2 things for us. The first one is what makes this build what it is. Final blows with weapons matching your equipped super damage type grant you super energy. So this is our number 1 reason why we can stay in our Song of Flame and keep getting chunks of our super back, is by getting kills with solar weapons, because obviously Song of Flame is solar. And the second thing that this exotic does for us is when our super energy is full, we instead gain a temporary bonus to weapon damage of that type. Now this damage boost is around a 25% damage boost to solar weapons. Now this is a nice little damage boost, but unfortunately we won't realistically be taking too much advantage of this damage boost because we want to be using our super as much as possible to be radiant and also have a massive damage resistance from Song of Flame. So anytime we do get our super, we're pretty much just going to want to use it as soon as possible. Moving on to our final build, we have a Stasis Warlock build that takes advantage of shattering enemies and using the Ergo Sum. Still to this day, one of my favorite exotics in the game. Now just like all of the Warlock Stasis builds, this one revolves around the Osmiomancy exotic gloves, which allows you to spam out Cold Snap grenades pretty much forever, freezing unlimited enemies and shattering them whenever you need. The other exotic that we're going to be pairing with the Osmiomancy gloves is the Ergo Sum sword with the Arc Conductor intrinsic trait. These two exotic pieces paired together is extremely fun, pretty much allowing you to throw out Cold Snap grenades, freeze enemies, and then you pull out your Ergo Sum, use your heavy attack, activate the Arc Shield, and it's going to zap all the enemies around you. Anytime this sword zaps frozen enemies, they're going to shatter and cause massive stasis explosions. So, as we all know, this is the Warlock Osmiomancy Gloves exotic build, and in my personal opinion, using Osmiomancy works especially well by using specifically the Stasis subclass. Now I know in the Prismatic subclass we do have access to Cold Snap grenades, however Stasis subclass offers fragments and aspects that unfortunately Prismatic doesn't offer, which makes this build better than it would be if you were using Prismatic. Now if you haven't seen the Osmiomancy gloves, basically what it does is it gives you a bonus Cold Snap grenade, meaning you have 2 grenades. Now when you throw this grenade, if you do directly hit an enemy, it pretty much refunds a full 100% of your grenade energy back. So while you are playing this build, and as you are throwing your Cold Snap grenades out, try and at least hit the enemy so that it guarantees you another grenade. However, with the help of some mods and other fragments, if you do end up not hitting the enemy, and you do waste a bunch of grenade energy, you will actually get this grenade energy back very quickly. Now pairing with this exotic, we are also going to be using the Ergo Sum, with the intrinsic trait being Arc Conductor. Now the Arc Conductor is from the Risk Runner exotic. Now basically the way this one works is every time you do a heavy attack, it's going to form a little arc shield around you, and this shield will absorb arc damage, but it will also send out lightning bolts and zap everything around you. But that right there will pretty much wrap up my 5 favorite Warlock builds that I've made over the past few months and compiled into this one video. Like I said before, in the description below will be the link to all 5 videos and also the dim link as well. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you did enjoy it, feel free to drop a like, subscribe, comment down below, and let me know in the comments what your favorite Warlock build is. But again, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.